to compare Fifi, Ben and Nick, but compare builders and you'll find the answer is Fairhaven Homes, the fair choice. Visit fairhavenhomes.com.au. This is the Fox.
Now, we're going to revisit something we talked about a week ago, and that is irrational fears, because we were so surprised how many people in Melbourne have irrational fears. And irrational fears are not the standard cliche fears like heights, spiders, snakes,
sharks,
claustrophobia. And it started with this audio that's gone viral again from a TV show from many years ago on Maury Povey. And he confronted a woman on his talk show with olives. She has such an irrational fear to olives.
You've been scared of olives. Do you eat olives?
No, we can't eat them.
Okay. Now, bring out the olives. Sally! Sally, I don't have anything!
We then took some calls, some amazing calls from people who are phobic of very strange things, including somebody who cannot hear the song I Come From a Land Down Under. I mean, this is a very severe reaction. Sarah, what is your irrational phobia?
My heart's racing here because I know I'm on the radio, and if you play it, I will vomit.
Okay, don't, Fev, not yet. Can we just talk to Sarah first?
Please, never mind, not yet. Please don't play it.
Sarah, the Land Down Under, a Men at Work song, why do you react so violently to it?
No idea. I don't know whether it's something to do with the video that went with it. I got stuck in a concert once. We went to see a comedian. And as everybody was leaving, they played it, and I was in the middle of the aisle, sitting down, and there was no way to get out, and I had to stick my fingers in my ears, and I was dry retching.
Oh, that's awful.
That was Sarah from Pakenham, and then there was Mariah from Cranbourne East. She was scared of kneecaps.
Kneecaps, that's a strange one, because we've all got them.
I know, but she can't touch them. Yeah. She can't touch her own, can't have anyone, can't see them, doesn't want to look at people's legs. And Emma from Werribee had a fear of tomato sauce, can't even touch the bottle. Yeah, remember, she couldn't give her kids anything that had tomato sauce because she couldn't wash it, couldn't look at it.
Imagine a whole life eating dry fish and chips. I couldn't do it.
Vinegar?
No, that's when you're out of sauce. That's when you put vinegar on there, when there's no sauce.
60, we're going back to the well. We want to hear about your irrational fears.
What's your irrational fears? Time to share them with the guys. Are you scared of craft beers? Do olives make you cry?
Bring out the olives.
What's your irrational fears?
That lady's reaction to the olives, it's like when I told Charlie last night, hey, buddy, it's bath time.
Yeah.
Doesn't like grass? Hates it?
No, he just cracked it for no reason.
There's someone in our studio here who we found out has irrational fear. Josiah.
Yeah.
You hear him over there. Josiah can't stand
Band-Aids.
Band-Aids. Have
And
you got one?
I've got some in my pocket.
No, you don't. He's freaked out. Josiah needs to press those buttons. We can't have him distracted.
I've learnt very well never tell Fev your irrational fear.
Don't tell Fev anything.
Don't tell me anything.
What's your irrational fears? Time to share them with the guys. Are you scared of craft beers? Do olives make you cry?
Bring out the olives.
What's your irrational fears?
Irrational fears, they're fascinating.
They fascinate me.
I don't want to make light of them in any way because I know how real they are, but they're very entertaining.
Yeah.
God, I don't get it.
Leave that to Fev.
I know, yeah, right.
He will make
I
light
actually
of them.
don't understand. I don't understand, the source.
I
don't get it. And you probably can't because it doesn't.
It's irrational.
Band-Aids. I don't get, there's no Band-Aid.
I know this is going to seem like a mistake because Josiah said he was terrified of Band-Aids and now Fev keeps threatening to throw them at him. And Josiah said I should never have said my irrational fear. But Fev, I just want you to know I've got an irrational fear of co-hosts giving me cash. I'm so scared, man.
Don't worry, Fee's got heaps of it. She gives me heaps all the time.
Joe in Bayswater North. Hey, Joe.
G'day, how are you?
Yeah, great, Joe. What is your irrational fear?
Look, I hate sweet and sour sauce from McDonald's. I cannot stand it.
Oh, wow.
Really? So what happens if you come across it, if someone's having nuggets next to you?
To be honest, I order Big Mac's sauce, but yeah, my partner, look, she loves it. I sort of just keep in my own little corner of the house and eat me McDonald's. So.
Wow, Joe. Well, my kids are the opposite. If I don't get the sweet and sour, they don't eat the Maccas.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So we have some stored at home.
So do we.
Because
in the pantry.
because McDonald's, great company.
Yeah, I just
Sometimes
hate the
they
smell.
forget.
I just hate everything about it, yeah.
Well done,
Whoa,
Joe.
Joe.
It's easy to steer clear of, though. Just
Well,
don't
it
eat
is because
Maccas.
that's not, and tomato sauce would be worse.
Yeah.
Like sweet and sour sauce, you just
Yeah,
come in
just-
across
yeah,
occasionally
yeah.
at Macca's.
That's yeah.
Whoo, Joe. Emily from Keilor Park. Hi, Emily.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah, we're
Good.
great, Emily. But what is this irrational fear you have?
So easiest way to describe it, you know those holes people get in their hands, but mine is more like the bark
Stigmata.
that's peeling off trees.
What's that?
The holes
You know,
in your
like-
hands.
So no, well, yeah, you know, I don't know what it's called. but
stigmata?
it's-
Is
Is that what? I don't know, but it's bark
got a hole in my
coming off
hand.
trees.
Well, this is Emily talking about barks in a tree, who sounds like she's standing in the middle of a forest.
I know.
I am. I've just dropped my kids off at before school care, and there's trees with the bark coming off them.
So, Emily, so what you're scared of is bark coming off trees.
Yeah, you know that really ugly bark on trees where it's like coming off?
The stringy
Yeah.
bark. I
Yeah.
think I know what you mean.
Yeah, that really ugly. Yeah, and it's everywhere, and it's on really big trees too, and it's dark.
And it freaks you out.
It makes me so uncomfortable.
What if one of the kids grabs some of it and comes up to you?
Yeah, God, no, stay away.
What about can I go back to the holes in the hands?
Yeah, what's the holes in the hands?
Oh, you know, like, I don't know what it's called. You have to look it up on the internet, but they've got like
Is it
thousands of holes on their
trypophobia?
head. Yes,
It's
that one. Oh my
holes
God.
being close to each other, yeah.
Oh, what?
Oh, so you've got what is?
Holes being
I'm
close to
so
each other.
confused by holes close to each other on your hand.
Yeah, you have to look it up. It's disgusting.
So is that separate to the bark?
Yeah, so I suppose I have both, but that was my way of explaining the bark situation, my feelings.
Yeah, I mean, no, Emily,
Josiah, that's
this
disgusting.
is fascinating,
You
and I'm
thought it.
trying to get. Triphobia. Okay, triphobia is the I don't know what I'm looking at, Leon. Sorry, Leon's trying to explain to me. I'm just looking at what looks like honeycomb.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
Mike. I think it's when you see lots of little holes. It's a lot of plants have them.
Yeah.
And when you see them, it makes you feel uneasy and uncomfortable. I know.
Was
people
that
have-
from a beehive, maybe?
Yeah, but you can get it in your hands as well, like as a disease.
Yes, and bottom of feet. Oh my God.
Oh, all that cracked stuff.
No, they're holes.
Oh, these holes! I've got to check my. I've got no hand. I've got no holes in my hands and feet, and I'm really confused.
I don't think you want a hole in your hand.
No, that's right. You don't want the fifi. No.
I'm going to Google holes in hands.
Stuff
I've got to
peeling
get to the
off.
bottom of this.
Are you just moisturising flat out? You don't want any rough.
Well,
What are the holes in the
well,
feet?
it's
I don't
actually a
understand
thing,
it.
Emily, because it's a real. Hang on, I'm having.
That's disgusting.
Can I see it, Leon?
What is that?
What is that? What did I just see? Okay, Emily,
That's
I've just
not
seen
real.
something that
Is
I've.
that a disease?
I think that's Wolverine's hand. Like that was bizarre. Thank you for sharing this with us, though, Emily. It was
No worries, guys.
That could be ours too.
fascinating. Veronica from Kenley. Hi, Veronica.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Now, Veronica, I believe we're sticking with the holes theme here. What's your irrational fear?
I don't like food with holes in it, like sourdough bread, pancakes when you cook them and they pop.
Bubble.
And
Donuts?
honeycomb. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when
Swiss
you say
cheese?
we need to get to the bottom of this, it's not just doesn't like it; it's you
Oh,
freak
no,
out. You have a visceral reaction.
Yeah, I avoid walking past bakeries because I will have a full-blown tantrum.
A tanty.
I just, yeah, and
Is
I'm a primary school teacher as well, and a lot of kids come with like pancakes and fresh bread, and I throw a hissy fit at it.
Do you feel like you're getting ripped off? Like there should be food in that food? Why are there holes in that
Yes,
bread?
exactly. Like why is it a thing?
Why? I'm fascinated that you and we heard from Emily. There's something about holes that is freaking people out. I don't because I get frustrated when I cut the sourdough and there is a big hole, but that's just because I want to put more butter on it.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do with that big hole? But I'm not. I mean, I have my own tanty, but I'm not scared of it. I'm just annoyed.
Yeah, I'm annoyed. I love donuts.
Oh yeah, how do you go with donuts, Veronica? That's a big hole.
Yeah, no, I don't do it.
You can't even do a donut.
Wow.
What
You're
about like a
missing out.
jam donut where they've put a hole in there but then filled it with jam?
Or if I can't see the hole, it's okay. But if I have to just not cut it open and look at it, because then when you cut the donut open, you can see all the holes in the donut.
This is fascinating.
So just empty, like the empty space. So like an Easter egg. Like if you opened an Easter egg and it's empty, would you consider that?
I'd shove it all in my mouth so I don't.
I do that. I don't have a fear.
Veronica, how do you go with an aero bar?
I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I
That's a good one.
refuse to buy even for friends an aero bar because I can't do it.
Bubbles are amazing.
She's limited.
You've because
There are a lot of
everything has
stuff.
got holes in it.
1019
The Fox.
Now, Kim Jong-un, he's been a bit quiet. We haven't heard much about him. The North Koreans, they're not part of the Olympics, are they?
They're not part of much outside their own
they're not.
bubble.
They do their own
They're
thing.
in their bubble.
But he gets talked about a bit. There's often like conspiracy theories or what's going on with him. Because remember, he didn't make a public appearance for about a year, and they were saying that he died and his sister had taken over, and we didn't know what's.
They haven't seen him for a while. Still have.
No, he's popped up.
Oh.
He's popped up.
Is he skinnier? Because I heard he had a lap
There
band.
he is. I don't think that's much skinnier. I can
Well,
only see
no, his
head
face
and-
is still chubby, but his body, like
Oh,
I heard
look
that
at the
he's
neck.
got real skinny.
I think it often goes from the face first. I would have thought if he'd gotten skinnier.
That could be an old picture though, bro.
Well, no, it's not an old picture, and I tell you this because there have been their health fears have been sparked by something in this picture.
Oh yeah.
People are thinking he may have had a head injury, maybe an operation on his scalp, which could infer a tumour or some sort of brain surgery.
Or a chip.
Maybe. And the reason why they think that he could have gone through this. Now, I want to just make sure everyone in the studio is comfortable because it's what's on the back of his head. It's a Band-Aid, Josiah.
Oh, God.
For people who don't know, Josiah has an irrational fear of Band-Aids.
I haven't finished my coffee yet either.
And he's not coping by the
I was trying to look at the photo and I couldn't before. Ugh.
I know they're not at the front of like scientific and technological advancements over there in North Korea, but if I've had a brain tumour taken out, I'd want a bit more than a Band-Aid. Some stitches, please.
1019 The Fox.
Let's talk all things The Block, premiering Sunday night, 7 p.m. on 9 and 9 now. The host, mate, we haven't touched base for so long. He's back on the show, Scotty Cam. Scotty!
Oh, g'day, guys. Beef, I haven't seen you for ages, and we used to see each other every year. It was my highlight.
I know, we really did. And for people who don't, because
And
Nick...
you too, Feb. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
g'day, mate. Yeah, it's all right,
No,
mate.
we've never met, Scott.
Yeah.
This is Nick.
We've
Nice
got a
to meet
new
you,
guy.
mate.
We got rid of Byron and got Nick.
Oh, thank
Oh, no. He's looking at it like a house. It's lost
He's like,
value.
yeah, look,
Who puts
Byron lost
asbestos
value.
in?
They got demolished.
No, Nick.
Hey, did that go to script well? You wrote that. You sent that to me about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
to say
beautiful.
Yeah, it worked out well.
That went well? Yeah, good.
Delivered it perfectly, Scotty. Now let's talk about The Block because this is exciting, this series. Filmed in Hampton, which I love you've referred to as Prampton, which is very good.
Yes.
Fev is down there with his pram most days.
I am. And I've walked past the houses and they look stunning, Scotty.
Yeah, look, they've come up a treat, and the cul-de-sac, the great Aussie cul-de-sac, was something different for us, which we try and do every season. And the 5 houses, the finished product, Fev, as you would have seen, they're just incredible. The front yards, when I was walking down the street seeing the front yards, I thought, these houses look magnificent. It looked like they've been there forever, but were built yesterday, which is exactly sort of how they look. And a really great finished product, and hopefully our contestants will make some money this year. If we bid, we'll have the actual money in the bank.
There you go, mate. A big night.
No, I didn't actually. I'm off the drink, Pep. I
I've
haven't
seen
had
that.
a drink since. I know. I haven't had a drink since last Sunday. So that's the first time since about 1979. So that's pretty good.
Do you know what? Before we go back to The Block, Scotty, earlier this year I was in Sydney for a few weeks and I went to your old pub. Remember the pub?
Yeah, the Mill Hill.
The Mill Hill. I went to the Mill Hill and I actually thought to myself, I wonder if I see Scotty and his mates here. But you moved on from there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, they actually knocked that pub. Like, the pub's still there, but they built some apartments on top. But I haven't had a beer there for a long time. But Feith, you, me and Byron had a drink there a few times back in the old days when we were working in Bondi Junction. We used to go and have a beer there, didn't we?
That's right, we did. That's right. And then you, remember, you got into a fight with, you and your posse got into a fight with management over what was it, the table tennis? No. What was
the aircon.
The aircon. They wouldn't turn the aircon.
I thought it would have been
because they were trying to save money, and 2 doors down was a squash club, which had a bar in it, and they had aircon. And someone said, we're going down there. So we moved down 2 doors down to the aircon because peak summer, all working hard. And then the publican from the pub came back and said, we want you to come back to the pub because, we were worth about $150,000 a year to him back in those days. And so we started on air vying for people who wanted us to drink at their pub. And we had people offering us fishing trips and all sorts of things. It was fantastic.
That was amazing.
But we never went back.
I thought the fight would have been over the tab because Byron wouldn't have put in.
No.
That would have been interesting. Hey, back to the block, Scotty.
Good old time.
a team on the fans, the contestants, Josh and Luke. Now, the twins, they're good for the eye for a lot of people watching. Did you ever catch Love Island, mate? Did you watch any of that?
I didn't know the boys from I didn't know that they covered, but my daughter certainly told me all about them, Josh and Luke, yes, she couldn't believe that they were going to be on the block. Look, they turned out to be good boys. They were there for a reason, to show that they could be more than beefcakes and they could do something other than strut around the beach kissing girls. So they did a good job, and they had some hiccups along the way, there's no doubt about it, and they had some big hiccups. But they eventually may get there if you see the series.
Ooh.
Now, Scotty, you and your show actually inspired a mate of mine, Luke Heggie, to become a tradie later in life. Now, I'm 34 with no building skills. What's the oldest new builder you've come across?
Look, I think my brother, who's also a chippy, he had an apprentice who was 40.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, later in life, he had 3 kids and just wanted a, bit of a change. So that was great. And, that's the thing. And I'm always an advocate for people getting into the trades and being an apprentice time. And there's also incentives that you can get from the government to be a mature age apprentice. So there's some great opportunities out there.
Yeah, I would think that. Well, I think that is and with all due respect, it's something you could start later in life. Not like when people watch the Olympics and go, I want to start swimming.
Unless you're
that's
riding
done.
a horse. Andrew Hoy.
Well, you could, absolutely. If you're a bit handy and someone's willing to take you on at 40, and of course, it's 40, people go, well, I'm going to take you on because you're sensible. You're not going out. You've got 2 kids. You're not going to be turning up late on a Monday with a hangover and things like that. So there's advantages to having a 40-year-old apprentice.
Now, Scott, I'm 34. I've got no skills, shaky hands, and I probably would turn up on Monday with a hangover. What trade would you recommend?
Radio announcing.
Speaking of apprentices, Scotty, and we were talking about the old days, remember when I needed some work done around my apartment when I was in Sydney? And Scotty sent one of his apprentices over to help.
Oh, of course he did.
Send him to yours.
That was very thoughtful. Thank you, Scotty.
That's all right. And who did I send over? Was it Pete?
Would have looked like Josh and Luke, probably, I would have thought.
And then he reported back to you and said that my apartment was the same size as your swimming pool.
That's not true.
It was very small. It was a studio apartment. But obviously...
I remember where that was too, Edgecliff Road.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
yeah, way back.
You two are toit.
We are, and I hardly get to see you anymore, but this is what's great about this Sunday night. We can all catch Scotty Cam back on our TV screen, 7 p.m. on 9 and 9 now. Can't wait for this blockbuster series of The Block. Fans versus faves, the showdown, the big showdown, Scotty, and thank you. So good having you on the show.
Wow.
Always great to be on your show. I love you, Feith, and you, Fev, and now I love you too, Nick.
Cheers,
Melbourne's 1019, The Fox.
Yesterday we had a good friend of the show, comedian Luke McGregor, on the show. And we love touching base with Luke because over the years he's taken us through his dating life, and he had told us that he had just started, he'd been on one date with a woman, and this was what he had to say.
hope she's not listening. I had a date with a psychiatrist.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's called an appointment.
You do? Yeah, I did. Well, I did get the Medicare rebate, but it was
Split the bill.
Exactly. Yeah, and she kept asking me questions like at one point she said, "Did that bring you pain?" And then she went, "Oh, sorry, that's work speak. I apologise." Like it was kind of weird. She would snap in and out of it. It was it was interesting.
The first thought of all of us when he said that was, "Oh."
Did that bring you pain?
Like no, when he said what she did for a job, and we all went, "Oh."
Well, it
is that a
did
turn-off?
raise. It did. Well, it got us talking about when you date a therapist, whether they're a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a counsellor, even probably a social worker, someone that's used to breaking people their psyche down and figuring out why they are the way they are. It would be. We're actually going to open the phones. 131060. Have you dated? Are you dating? Are you married to a psychologist, psychiatrist, somebody in this field? Because I think, dating them would be, you'd be telling them something.
Yeah,
and when they staring into you, you'd go, what are you seeing? What are you reading? What have I got? Am I okay?
There's no way I could date a psychiatrist. They'd be like, "You're not well."
Do you think
they wouldn't be able to do it?
Alex
they'd know.
isn't one, and she tells you that.
Yeah, she tells
knows
me.
as well.
She tried to leave. Don't worry about that. She did leave, but I couldn't. I've got too much wrong.
Too much kind of, but you might enjoy that. See, maybe there's an upside to it where you get somebody helping you, giving you coping
I'm
strategies.
past help. I am past help. I'm just hanging on.
It could even be like free therapy. There may be upsides to
Yeah.
dating a therapist. I don't know.
Free prescriptions?
I was just thinking about
What are you thinking about?
Great stories.
But also,
Imagine the stories, because they can't drop names.
No,
'cause that's
but
a
not allowed to
breach.
talk about that stuff.
Yeah, but I know that's a breach. But as if they're not.
Oh, rule breaker.
What?
You can't talk about that.
Yeah, I know. But as if they're not dropping one.
they'd be saying things without saying names.
Yes.
Would they?
Yes.
Yes.
Don't
Their
bring work
partner.
home, baby. That's what I'd say. I don't want to know about
As if you would. You'd be going, give me everything. And then you'd be going through her files trying to blackmail the person because you found out all their stuff.
I think you need help.
No.
What? Is that what you think I would do?
I don't think I
Blackmail
would like
someone?
it because think about the fights too. When you have an argument, they'd always win.
Yeah, you can't
Because
win.
they'd pull out the doctorate. They go, there's my university degree.
Yeah.
I know why you are the way you are.
At least if you're sad, they'll be able to give you some tissues. You've always got tissues nearby there.
Or some good meds. That'd be the upside.
Years ago, I was in a relationship that was, and I went to a counsellor that was in a relation. She was like a relationship counsellor, and I thought I'll go and talk this over with her because it was just a dysfunctional relationship. And I was sort of halfway through telling. She did that whole thing. Just sit there, and you sit over here and close your eyes and tell me all the things.
Were you with the partner or was it by yourself?
No, by myself.
Oh, wow.
I knew I had to get out of this relationship, but I couldn't do it. You know, you get stuck and you go, I know it's not right.
Yeah,
but
I
I thought I'll go to her and
Have
she'll
another kid.
tell me,
Yeah.
absolutely get out of this. And then she wasn't really commenting, and I looked up and she'd fallen asleep. She actually fell asleep in my session.
And what's that saying?
I don't know.
Is that your fault or her fault?
Well, it was one of
Might have been
those
a boring
places
story.
Put a
where
bit of sauce on the story.
Right, make it a bit more interesting. This is boring. It's been going for 7 hours.
it was also because I was about 24 at the time. I was pretty young, and it was one of those places where you pay what you think they earned.
Oh, God. Tell us some of the stuff you were saying.
No, well, obviously it was very boring and tedious. But 131060, we've digressed. We'd love to hear from anyone who's dated a therapist of any type, maybe even on Tinder. Like, is it like a one-off date? You've gone out and you've gone, no, they were just too inquisitive. I don't want to share all that.
You know, it'd be good. We all should do it. Go to see a counsellor. The three of us.
Together?
Yeah.
Don't bring us in for your mess, mate.
Bella in Park Orchards. Hi, Bella.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Now, Bella, you're not dating a counsellor. Your mum is one.
Yeah, she is.
See, that's almost
that's annoying.
as tough.
That's hard.
Bella, how hard is that with mum being a counsellor?
It has its positive and its negatives. I'm 19, so I've got lots of, friendship issues. So every time I tell her, she goes, "How does that make you feel?" I'm like, how does that make them feel? And a bit annoying because she's trying to see both sides of the story. So I have to go to my sister most of the time.
Do you know, Bella, I've never understood that question, and I don't know if your mum's handy. I'd love the answer to this. Why do they ask you, how does that make you feel? Like, how does the answer help?
Clearly not great. I'm in here.
No, well, Mum's at home. I'm just at work at the moment. But I feel like because they're trying to, crack, trying to open you up.
Hey, Bella.
From my understanding. Yeah, sorry.
Your mum's at home and you're at work.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Oh, gosh.
It's like the weather. It's 15 degrees outside, but it feels like 6. That's what the counsellor will be trying to say. Like, on the outside, your persona is you're happy, but inside, you're not.
You sound like someone that knows these therapy sessions well.
I've been in rehab, bro. I'm just trying to put it in layman's terms.
You're right. Nothing's ever as bad as it feels.
Yeah, except for when it's inside.
What?
And it's minus.
1019
The Fox.
We'll be glued to Channel 7 today. The Olympic Games live and free on 7 and 7 Plus, the only place to see it all. And today, 2:15 p.m, the basketball semi-final, the Boomers taking on Team USA. How is this going to go? We will find out when it airs. But right now, let's talk to basketball superstar champion Andrew Bogut. Thanks for coming on the show, Andrew.
No worries.
Now, Andrew, can you predict or tell us what we can expect to see in today's game? Where obviously the Boomers are going in as the underdog, that would be right?
I'm not sure about that. I think it's pretty even money at the moment. I mean, USA obviously a tough beat at any tournament, but Australia's been playing really good basketball. They're 5-0. 4-0, and just playing good team ball, really, really good defensively, one of the best, if not the best defensive teams in the Olympics currently. So I think it'll be a pretty even matchup.
Hey, Bogey, I hope they do go 5-0 after today. Now, our great man, our flag bearer, Paddy Mills, has been starring once again in an Olympics. He's playing against his ex-coach now, Popovich. How will they man him? It feels like if they stop Paddy Mills' playmaking, they might be able to stop us. But I feel if we get Daly to stop Durant, we'll stop them and we'll be able to win.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Daly on Durant. I think we'll see Nick Kay on Durant to start.
How good's he been, Nick Kay? Wow.
Yeah, Nick Kay's been awesome for a guy that was, there was some criticisms about him making the 2019 World Cup squad, and he's put that to sleep, that's for sure. So he'll probably get the start, but I anticipate Matisse Thybulle will come off the bench pretty quickly, and his role will be heavily pointed towards guarding Kevin Durant, trying to stop him. Because, when Team USA bogged down offensively, they've got the luxury of throwing it to one of the best scorers of all time in Kevin Durant.
What sort of points does Australia have to keep him down to, do you reckon, to win?
Oh, it's kind of hard to say what the pace is going to be of the game. But look, if we just make them earn what they're doing offensively, they're going to score. They're too talented not to score. I think the key for us isn't points. It's going to be that we don't turn the ball over and give them, fast break opportunities, and that we win the rebound count. I think for those watching at home, if we win those two categories, I think we'll be in a good chance of winning the game.
Now, Boga, you play in a few Olympics and obviously years in the NBA. What's the vibe difference between an NBA game and an Olympic game when you're representing your country?
Oh, there's a huge difference. I think representing your country, at least for the Australian men's basketball team and women's, is we're not paid to play for our country. So you generally have a common goal of coming together and trying to win a medal because you're not playing for contracts, you're not playing for any of that stuff. So it's probably a bit more pure than the NBA. No business involved and no kind of sideshow, and you're not trying to pad your stats as much. So I think, that's probably the biggest difference that I'd find.
And then what about no crowd, Andrew? Because obviously, particularly the USA, they're used to the big crowds. Yeah. And how will that affect having, not many people in the audience in Tokyo?
Well, unfortunately, because of the way the world is, you look out your window and it's on fire at the moment. It's something that both teams are used to be honest. The NBA's had their whole, to the end of last season, they had fans, but they were in the bubble the year before with no fans, and then the first half of this season had no fans, similar to guys that on the Australian national team that played in the NBL or played over in Europe. It's been like that for 18 months now, so professional athletes adjust quickly. If you haven't adjusted by now, you're probably going to be in some trouble.
Now, Andrew, you've played with some amazing players in the NBA. You've played with a man called Steph Curry, who, for all our listeners, just signed a huge deal worth $215 million. Now, you've hung out with this guy. What would he do with that much cash?
It's actually his second deal over $200 million.
Yeah, it's his second one, yeah.
He's the first guy ever to do that. But he's just so normal for a superstar. Just an easy guy to get along with. Give him some golf clubs and he's happy. He
loves the freebies.
Yeah, he does. But no, as long as he's playing golf on his off days and hanging out with the family, he's pretty happy. So he's one of the few superstars that I like in the NBA. Him and Giannis are probably the two that I really like as far as superstars, just the way they go about it. There's not many others, I can tell you that.
That's what annoys me about Steph Curry. He can shoot, one of the best players in the NBA, and can play golf. That's really annoying.
He's a gun. I think he's almost pro.
I think he's under scratch, which is annoying. Now, the Americans, it's been a big Olympics for them, and one person in particular. And I know you say things off the cuff, and you're a pretty outspoken dude. How would America have reacted inside or internally about the Simone Biles saga? You have an opinion on that at all?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they would have. I think every person has a different opinion on it, as we know publicly, and it's just one of those things that we're dealing with today. It's a tough one, and I've heard numerous different opinions on it, and I guess no one really knows but her what the real deal is. So I don't think Team USA would be really discussing that too much basketball-wise, but yeah, it's just one of those things in the world of sport that is becoming much more prevalent. It's one of those things that we're not just
all dealing with. Yeah,
it's not just Olympic sport. It's AFL. It's NBL. It's NBA. It's golf. Every other day we're hearing about it, so it is becoming a bit of an issue.
Because we had a sort of a similar thing with Liz Cambridge, who left the Opals team. Now, is that a bit of a regret for both parties now that they've been bundled out by America yesterday? That she would have been handy?
Oh, she would have been very handy. One of the best players in the world. And don't forget that team was more than likely picked to have role players that kind of accommodate what Liz does and her strengths. And then you take her out of that puzzle, that team's probably picked differently. So, look, they didn't have a great tournament. And Liz, obviously had some indiscretions leading into it, so they had to make that decision from a culture standpoint, which I agree with. I mean, the stuff that was reported was not very good, and they need to just move on and try to rebuild that culture there with the Opals.
Bugs, on a lighter note, I heard something years ago. Now, you'll be able to tell me if this is true or not. When you got drafted number 1 overall in the NBA, I heard that you hired a chef to make you parmas because you missed parmas.
I don't know who told you that, mate.
That's the first thing I do with NBA cash.
You've got the Parma part, right? I love a Parma, and I'll whenever it's on the menu, I'll read a whole menu wherever I'm at, and then just end up with a Parma anyway. But no, I've never hired a chef. So
what about
Bogey?
Grew up a wog, mate. Grew up a wog, so I know how to cook.
Endeavour Hills boy. Now, you say you love Parmas. Now, Fifi Box, who sits alongside me right here, has never eaten a Parma before in her whole life.
What?
No, I've never had one.
Why?
It's never.
Do you not eat chicken or something? You eat chicken, yeah?
Yeah, I love chicken. I crumb my own chicken, but I don't have a Parma.
She's never eaten one.
Why?
Ever.
I need a reason.
I've never been confronted by one. Like, I've never...
Confronted?
Confronted?
That doesn't surprise you. It's not an alleyway robbery. It's a Parma.
I don't know when I'll be on here next, but Fev, mate, you need to make it happen by the time I want to eat it next time, right?
Yeah, all right. Before now in the gold medal game, when Australia plays, I'll try and get her a Parma into her.
I like it.
Just quickly before we let you go, because a big day, and we can't wait to hear you commentating at 2:15. The Boomers playing the USA Dream Team. But do you remember a few years ago when you were at a soccer game and Fev was sitting behind you heckling, Andrew? Does that ring any bells?
At a soccer game?
Yeah. Fev, enlighten.
Oh, no. Well, I was drunk and I was with... remember the Australia played Argentina at the MCG?
Yep.
Yeah, you went... And there was a guy behind you going, "Sit down, Bogey, sit down." And you were sitting down. That was me being a smartass.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and you looked back at me. I was only a little young kid, and you greased the hell out of me, and I was so scared. But
Yeah, sounds about right.
He doesn't remember.
No,
See, I don't know why you
I
brought that up.
don't.
No,
I
well-
don't. I don't. You probably look like another punter in the crowd, mate.
I would have.
Yeah. Well, we've loved chatting with you. Andrew Bogert, you're a legend, and we can't wait for 2:15 today on Channel 7, watching the Boomers. Go Aussie, and thank you, Andrew, for your time.
No worries, anytime. Thanks.
Fifi, Bev and Nick are the clear choice for your drive to work. And the clear choice when comparing builders is Fairhaven Homes. Fair and transparent service, clear from the start. Visit fairhavenhomes.com.au.
This is the